You are listening to WRKE 100.3 LP.FM Salem, streaming live online at WRKE.org and on the TuneIn app. Just search for WRKE. Now on to the LP.M Music Showcase with me, Nico. Sorry if I was a little late or if I'm out of breath. I was doing an internship and internship stuff, but right now we are here to celebrate a musician who wasn't very well known during his lifetime, but 20 years after his death, he's starting to see the success that he's always wanted and absolutely deserves every inch. This is Nick Drake with his debut album, 5 Leaves Left, and with the title track, Time Has Told Me. Here we go. Again, that was Nick Drake with his debut album 5 Leaves Left, which he recorded and came out when he was only 20 to 21. He was around my age. What am I doing? Anyway, this like the previous broadcast from before, this is recorded, so this will be going up on a VODs channel called Nico Tetrox VODs, where I will be putting up all of my broadcasts from before until I graduate. My previous episode was on Ginger Root, which consists of Cameron Liu in the studio, and who I forgot to mention, but Dylan Hovis and Matt Carney, who are touring musicians and are also considered members of the band. I still don't know how to refer to them as such. I'm still very confused on who to refer to Ginger Root as an entity, but I'm sure they will clear it up someday. But anyway, yeah, this is Nick Drake. He, like I mentioned before, he was not very appreciated during his lifetime. But 20 years later, now a lot of people have come to listen to his music with such high acclaim. And I know that he is mostly popular within Britain. And I know that I have aunts and uncles who are in Britain. So I don't know if I should give their names. I'll just say to my aunt and uncle who live in Scotland, I would like to know that if you are listening to this, if you guys know of Nick Drake, because I know that he does have a better standing there in the UK. But Nick Drake was born from 1948 and he lived until 1974. He recorded 3 very seminal albums, and as I mentioned before, never got him the fame that he really wanted. The thing was that he had the material to do so, but because he was very introverted and very isolated, he didn't like talking to people, and he mostly just kept to himself. So that was why in interviews or in live performances, he never really liked playing in crowded settings, mostly because a lot of people would just use his music as background noise, or would just mostly not pay attention to him or listen. But those that did listen helped and cemented that he had a very high cult following. And I've seen from accounts that Nick Drake's music is very personal, and that even very heavy music collectors who will often try to show their friends about music will usually keep Nick Drake to themselves, since he's very, as I mentioned, very personal, very intimate. That's how his music translated very well to people. And it's very beautiful music, unlike a lot of what people come to expect, or what people usually refer to, which is mostly rock on some music forums or things like that. You can look at an example to Rate Your Music, which has a pretty heavy bias towards rock music, but you can see that Nick Drake's music is actually very high up there in the top 100. Out of the millions or 100,000s of songs that are put on that website, all 3 of his albums are in the top 500. And with his highest being Pink Moon at number 30. It's great. I just wish that Nick Drake would have been able to appreciate and see that people appreciated his music. But all we can do now is celebrate it. So the next song is one that he considered was one of his favorites, and is probably certainly one of my favorites as well. It's a very beautiful, like all of his songs, it's very acoustic and it's very orchestral. It's very intimate, but also very mellow and lush. This is Riverman. I just want to go into a little bit more background on Nick Drake. He, unlike a lot of musicians, I shouldn't say that with some sort of spite on it, but Nick Drake was very well educated. He came from a middle to upper class family and attended Cambridge University. He was born in a very musical family, and if you listen to past recordings of the Drake family, such as from his mother Molly Drake, you can see where he would interpret or where he would first draw his own musical style from. And speaking of trivia, his sister is Gabrielle Drake, who back in the 70s was a very prominent British actor. So yeah, that's very cool. And as mentioned before, or I probably should have mentioned this before, but Nick Drake writes all of his own music. And that's every single guitar part is him. He is a very technical individual, and you could argue that he is one of the most technical singer-songwriters. Because just like Joni Mitchell, he uses a lot of alternate tuning, but his picking is more intricate. It's very intricate. Because you can see how he has a grasp on he has a more prominent grasp on the use of dynamics and being able to bring out notes so clearly. I played two of his songs, and this one will really show it, but even though it's such fast and complicated finger style picking, he's so accurate, and each note rings out on its own. At such a young age, it's amazing how he could do that. So this is one of his more technical songs, 3 hours. Here you have a man breaking boundaries in plain sight with all these technical abilities and all these complicated what's the word, orchestrations, and I don't know what was it called? I don't know why I'm blanking out on the word. Transcriptions, compositions. Yeah, sorry, all these complicated compositions, and he's hidden in plain sight, and nobody notices him. I'd be angry too. I'd be pretty angry too. But what makes his music stand out is, according to the string arranger and his friend Robert Kirby, who does the orchestrations on this and the second album, Brighter Later. What makes Nick stand out from other British musicians from this period is that he put it unapologetically British, because his music sounds very folky when you compare it to who was dominant during this time of the Beatles and Cream, Clapton, the upcoming Led Zeppelin, who were very influenced by American blues rock during this time, and he just stayed during that period to this. And it would have been a wonder to see him perform. Unfortunately, there is no known video footage of the adult Nick Drake. There's only home footage of when he was a baby, but other than that, no video footage at all can be found. There's one that could be him where he's just walking, but it's only his back. It could be Nick Drake, but who knows? We do have an abundance of adult Nick Drake photos, though, so that at least that's good. It's just him in a bunch of different settings. But it's unfortunate, again, thinking back to it, that this was... It's not like he did something destructive that just caused him to end his life. He was really trying, and the fact that he didn't get to see it while he was alive, it's sad. It's very tragic. But people are saying that what could add to his appeal is his mysteriousness of just his quiet voice, his quiet guitar playing, and just that there's not a lot of footage of him. But I think his music alone could appeal to people. It certainly appealed to me, just because I am a huge sucker for beautiful arrangements and just the general lush green blue sky and green trees, warm settings, sitting under a tree sort of thing. I love that so much. But here it is. This is his fourth song, Way to Blue, which is just an orchestration by Robert Kirby, and it's just his vocals. He's not playing guitar in this song. His lyrics are beautiful, very beautiful. I was going to say something else important besides that. I don't know. There was a notification from my internship that I forgot to mute, so sorry about that. But, all right, I'm going to let it play out, and then when I have something to say, I'll stop. But the next song is called Day Is Done, another technical folk song by him. He's a poet. He's literally a poet because when he was educated at Cambridge, or I think before then, you could see what kind of books he was reading or just what the material was during that time. And it's beautiful literature. I don't know it specifically, but that's just what it said on a biography. I shouldn't be talking with so much authority if I don't know the names of the books. But this ends side A, and side B starts with another one of my favorites, Thoughts of Mary Jane. And if you listen to the Made to Love Magic version on the compilation Archive album, it is more acoustic, it is in D major, and it is more, I guess, intimate during this, but it's beautiful. So again, Thoughts of Mary Jane on side B of Nick Drake's 5 Leaves Left. For the next song, I want you listeners to listen very closely to these lyrics because these are a sort of unsettling foreshadowing for Nick Drake's career and his life. It's just astonishing how he was able to perfectly capture something so specific that he himself wasn't sure that he might have experienced. This is Fruit Tree. I still can't wrap my head around how he was able to perfectly encapsulate and foreshadow just what his career would turn out to be. And then just the what he mentioned, that people will stop and stare when you're gone, or that it's so easy to just look past it and then just seem like, oh, it's just another one of these general things. And then when said name becomes bigger or more prevalent, you're wondering like, well, I don't know why I never noticed them back when they were small. It's another one of those things of hiding in plain sight that just, it's unfortunate that some people just aren't seen and aren't able to get what they really want until, or just even after or before they die. Thankfully, this album ends on a much higher note. It's called Saturday Sun, and it seems like it ends on a more positive note for what Nick Drake was thinking of when he was going further into his music career. Again, Saturday Sun. So, thank you, Nick Drake, for your music. And we wish that more people, we wish that you'd know that more people had appreciated you during that time and are still appreciating you more. But that will do it for Nick Drake. For next week, I'm not sure what I will cover, but I will assure you that it will also be another great record. And I know I'm a little late, but I'm going to leave some lasting thoughts for Nick Drake next week. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.